Hi, I'm Mark King, Investment Editor at Columbia Threadneedle Investments, and here's what's in my weekly column. Chancellor Phillip Hammond delivered his spring budget, pledging to build the foundations of a fairer, stronger, more global Britain, and a Britain that's at the cutting edge of the global economy. In a reasonably quiet budget, Brexit was very much the elephant in the room, as Hammond announced upbeat economic data, such as a revised GDP forecast of 2% for 2017, up from 1.4%, but he had to repeatedly talk about preparing Britain for the future. That future is, of course, outside the EU, and with Brexit negotiations set to begin by the end of March, it's unsurprising that Hammond's budget contained little to get excited by. The Office for Budget Responsibility forecasts also have GDP growth slowing to 1.6% in 2018 before gradually picking up until it reaches 2% again in 2021. Borrowing has been revised down for 2016 to 17 by some $16.4 billion. However, an end to austerity is unlikely, as Hammond pointed out that Britain has a debt of nearly $1.7 trillion, and that's almost £62,000 for every household in the country. And each year, Britain spends £50 billion on debt interest alone. Borrowing over the next 5 years is still set to be £100 billion higher than predicted at last year's budget. So it was very clear that any spending promises made in this budget would be funded by additional taxes. So what does this year's budget mean for you? Well, you'll see a rise in the personal income tax allowance to £11,500, which means you might have a little extra in your pay packet each month. But with a new minimum price of £7.35 for a pack of cigarettes, smokers at least will see that wiped out pretty quickly. Self-employed people will find themselves paying around 60p a week more in national insurance contributions from April 2018, while people who benefit from tax-free dividends will see the total amount they can receive tax-free dropping from £5,000 to £2,000. Elsewhere, there were infrastructure boosts for roads in the North and the Midlands, £2 billion for social care, funding for disruptive technologies, and a new A-level type qualification, but little else to get excited by. With just a few weeks to go until the government invokes Article 50, perhaps this was always going to be a case of the calm before the storm. See you next week.